Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of The Snake Pit. And today, we're going to be covering a Grindhouse classic, the 1980 Cannibal film that pretty much has never been matched to this day. And that is Cannibal Holocaust, directed by Ruggero Deodato. And this movie is one of the video nasties from the 70s and 80s. And I think it's one of the better examples of a film that can both balance being extreme and somewhat sophisticated at the same time. So we're going to jump into this, and hopefully you guys will check it out too. So, yeah, what did you guys think off the bat?
Pretty good. I'm going to be honest. Really good showing.
Yeah, no, fucking 100%. What did you think?
I thought it was a good shock film too. Like it has a lot to offer. You know, it kind of gives you that like a Jack Black King Kong vibe. You're going into the jungle, some crazy shit's about to happen, and then it's just like boom, evil. Like these people just dispel evil all over these tribes and like try and blame it. It's like it's a crazy film. It's really messed up. I give it easy like. Off the first watch, I'll watch it a few times probably. Off the first watch is like a 9.
Oh,
easily a 9.
This is my first time I watched it, since I've never seen it before, I give it a 10.
Oh, hell yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree. This is like probably the 10th time I've seen this. I try to see it every year because it's that good. I give this a 10 off the bat. Before we dive into it, I actually got a couple funny stories about it. So basically, for those of you who don't know, this was one of the 72 almost prosecuted video nasties. This is one of the most controversial ones. Even on the cover of the DVD here, it says the most controversial movie ever made. Bold statement. It definitely lives up. It's pretty gritty, really nasty, really mean-spirited. And for those also who don't know, this is one of the films that started the found footage genre. So not Blair Witch Project. This movie came out in 1980, and it got to that mark first. The first time I actually ever seen this movie, I was in 8th grade, and I was selling my PS2, and I got a bunch of money for it, and I decided, I seen this DVD, I read about it a bunch of times, how crazy this movie was, so I bought it. Never been able to find this copy again, even though Grindhouse put it out on Blu-ray a couple times after the fact. But yeah, one of the best purchases I've ever made. This movie, the first time I saw it, it was the most extreme thing I had ever seen. And it was just, like, it wasn't overwhelming. It was definitely something, it wasn't like August Underground where, like, we finished it and kind of just sat there in silence. I remember the minute I finished it, like, it was just, so many thoughts went through my head. Like, this was, like, not only great, but this was also shocking. Like, and
it has very interesting, I thought it did what Green Inferno was trying to do with, like showing that fucking, in North American culture is just as fucked up as these, like, tribal people. And it's like, dude.
Oh, yeah,
like, the Americans actually make it. They're so much more fucked up. Even though, like, that's just their. It's so hard to describe.
It's a savage display of just evil. Fucking, yeah, like, what did you guys think of the gore in it? Because I think it's still, even for a movie that came out in 1980, I think this rivals even some of the CG. Like, this is better than the CG shit 1,000 times over.
100%.
You can tell that even some of the organs used, like, that shit had to have been real. Like, that had to have been real. A fair warning.
They were using real carcasses for a lot of the gore scenes. And
100%.
like the one shot perspective and like how they changed from like the actor dying into fucking and a person being like ripped apart was absolutely crazy. Like I was shocked. I didn't know much about the movie when I first started it, and I was like, a few times when the found footage part of the film started, I was like, oh shit. Is this real? Is this real? I was like, wait a second. No. All the things no. Alex told me it's not real. This is really, really good gore effects from 1980. That's insane.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking amazing, especially because this is an Italian film, dubbed really well too. I believe there were a few American actors in there. You can tell who's dubbed and who isn't when you watch this. But even still, the dubbing wasn't totally distracting. You know, if you kind of just like. For all you listeners out there, you know, have a couple of the twisted teas, you know, smoke a couple doobs, you're not going to notice it. You know, you'll notice it a couple times when the movie starts, but you really just get in. The acting's great. There's a couple subtitles, but, like, honestly, if you're going to use the excuse that you can't read subtitles and watch a movie at the same time, I believe that you're just full
weak.
Of shit.
You're weak.
What I was going to say before we brought up the amazing gore effects was, a warning to some people out there, all you PETA assholes that might be watching this, there is real animal cruelty in this movie.
And it's really fucked up.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like the muskrat kill, the guy did it completely incorrectly, and it was just
unnecessary. Bad, like not a fucking. He's not a hunter. It's very clear.
Yeah. honestly, like it's disturbing, but at the same time, what are you gonna do? You're in the jungle. You can't really bring food from the outside in. You know, like
a lot of the movie is realistic in the way that that the people like the second group.
There's like the Yanomamo, and then there was
not those people. I'm talking about the people that were filming it. They are like
those guys.
Like the second guys that they found the footage of that got killed. Those guys are just like the worst human beings wow.
Well, you know what? I think I'll give a quick rundown of the plot because there's a lot to unpack with this movie.
Much.
And for any of you out there who haven't seen this, you might be lost with what we're saying. So I'll just give a quick rundown of the plot. Basically, Cannibal Holocaust follows an anthropologist who's investigating the disappearance of 4 American film documentarian students. And they basically went into the Green Inferno, the Amazon jungle, to film unseen, undocumented tribes. He goes in with a couple... First, it's mercenaries. They kind of clear out the area. Then they tag one of these tribesmen to lead them back to the bigger group. So the anthropologist and this like jungle mercenary badass who's always just smoking doobs and like just doing drugs and drinking in the jungle. He has no fears. He's basically the one you want to go with. Him and this younger guy take the younger cannibal and they go through. Along the way, there's markers as to what's to come later. Like you see a turtle shell, you'll see bones, bodies, shit like that. They finally get to the first tribe. They're very apprehensive. They don't really want to communicate with anyone. But after establishing peace, they're pretty much free to communicate. They share in a couple of, like drinks. I think it looked like tree sap or something. Yeah. Then they explain that that's one tribe and that these people must have done something really terrible to invoke such a fearful response. After that, there's 2 other tribes. These guys are like, the first ones are normal. They're just like, brown guys with bowl cuts. The second tribe are kind of like prehistoric ghillie suit motherfuckers, an all white body paint.
People, man.
No, the swamp people. Those guys first.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's these guys you rarely see, the fucking tree people that are like the ghillie suits but all black. And you don't really see the black ghillie suit motherfuckers until later in the movie, but they're mentioned pretty much in the beginning. But they meet the swamp people. They get the film canisters after another established trade. The guy uses a voice recorder with songs to show that he has he has godly powers they cannot comprehend, like a tape recorder, a switchblade, all this shit. They make fair trade. They get the film canisters back. They go back to New York to examine it because people in New York want to release this as a documentary.
And at this point, nothing really fucked up has happened. We've seen oh, look, maybe these cannibal people are really sketchy. Oh my goodness! They've ripped apart 4 people and put them into this weird sculpture. Why did they do that?
Gore bag like a super
maybe
mutant.
Because they're demons and they're trying to fight off the evil that has come to them. The next part of the plot is so fucked up that it rivals a lot of things that I've actually seen. They are really fucking evil.
Yeah, so
really evil.
Basically, they get to New York City. And the people who've invested in this documentary are pretty much like, oh, we want to put this on TV. This is going to be great. They start interviewing the parents of the people that went to film the documentary in the first place, and they're all just like, nah, these people are shitty. We feel bad for them. We don't want to talk to them. Fuck them. And so that kind of gives you an idea of who these people are. You find out that Alan, the director, notorious for staging controversy for his documentaries. That first Africa documentary they showed, that was brutal. I actually thought that was real war footage at first until they were like, no, he staged it. So you get this idea that this Allen guy is a piece of shit right off the bat. And then they start reviewing the footage. These guys go into the jungle and they're just being cocky Americans, just trekking through this, that, and third. They meet the first tribe that we mentioned earlier.
And instantly, it's like they're absolute pieces of shit. They corral 50 people and put them in the largest hut in the village and fucking burn it down. After
yo, tell them about that, man. The fire, bro.
They literally took the torches and were just we're just gonna burn these buildings down while we have 50 of them in each hut and just.
Yeah, and they even made a comment too about it's just like Cambodia, which it's an interesting parallel too. The social commentary in this movie isn't very heavy-handed, which I thought was great. It came in peppered in, and that Cambodia comment,
it's just so real.
It made me think just the Vietnam War footage of these GIs burning down the huts, and I was like, damn, you know what? Bro, these guys are fucked. So they slaughter a pig, they burn down a village, they do all this crazy shit. Actually, you know what? We forgot to mention this. So, earlier in the film, we did get to see some crazy shit. It's just what happens later is just so dramatic. We actually glossed over it. When they're trekking through the jungles with the all-American badass, the mercenary team, we see an actual like jungle infidelity ritual.
Yeah.
Where a chick gets basically raped with a phallic rock and then her head gets smashed the fuck in the mud.
Yeah.
That was some brutal shit.
That was like, that was intense. Like,
man.
that was the first really messed up thing we saw. Like 30,
Yeah,
30 minutes into the movie.
For the
Yeah,
movie.
It's like, oh shit, some real shit's about to happen.
At first it was just like the cannibals like munching on the fucking hands and shit. It didn't look that like it looked like meat put on a skeleton.
And
frog.
then it went, and then it went into a 6-minute scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, and that's how you know it's a grindhouse movie. It just was just like
I thought this girl was gonna be
like
like dragged and like put on an altar, like maybe her heart gets put like tucked.
No, it was just rape
like,
with a rock.
No.
Rape with a rock.
Rape with a fucking rock in the mud. In the fucking
brutal
like,
scene. And then he
absolutely
makes a
brutal.
mud ball,
Weirdly
puts sticks in
hog-tied
it.
like that, just like tied to a post so you can't move at all.
Holy
just
shit,
fucking
brutal.
plunging a fucking 12-inch like thick fucking rock.
Girthy.
Girthy rock.
But,
All through her shit and then caving in her skull right after. Like,
But yeah,
could've just caved in her skull and done that. Like,
I figured I'd bring
brutal.
that up because if any listeners
I
haven't
don't
seen
like
this,
traveling,
they'll-
guys. This is why.
we only bring this up now because anyone who's been listening at this point may think all the crazy shit happens at the end of the movie. No, I just, I just wanted to
close.
say that like there's a couple of things that happen in the beginning.
Yeah.
But what happens when Alan and his team go in the jungle? Basically, they meet the first fucking tribe. They burn down the huts like you were saying, killing a bunch of them. They then have sex in the burnt, charred out hut, and everyone's just watching. And it's just
Still, they have most of the people corralled at gunpoint, watching these people fuck on the burnt remains of their families.
Yeah.
What? It's so like, who comes up with that?
Yeah,
that's
and,
impressive.
Like, and the funny thing too that I'm thinking is like, so keep in mind, like the people in New York are watching this found footage, and they have the intention to put this out as a documentary. And I'm watching it like, yo, there's a lot of brutality in this footage. How in the fuck were they? Because like, let's say these guys survived and they came back with the footage that they got. How the fuck are they gonna cut this to make it look like? Because the whole idea with burning the huts is they wanted to stage controversy. They wanted to make it look like one of the tribes.
The way they were
attacked
filming
another.
it, it's like they were doing it the whole time. They were filming it like they were gonna look back on it as home movies, like, haha, this was so funny.
And there's no way that they would have been able to cut it into a documentary because there's too much footage of them smiling and laughing and saying like, oh yeah, this is great, isn't it? And it's like, let's say they did survive.
There's the funniest part. They're about to kill like these 3 people, and he cuts to this guy's face, and it's like, oh, it's supposed to be all like freaked out, and he's like, oh, dude, and he fucking instantly his face turns from like devilish smile to nothing. And
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
oh,
No,
dude.
Oh man, and then it happens again too when So I'm gonna gloss. So basically, what happens is after the burnout and all this crazy shit. Sorry, the tea's got me, boys. Basically, they stumble across the next tribe or a girl from the next tribe, and they corner her and they gang rape her in the mud. Really brutal, uncomfortable scene, not pleasant to watch. After that, well, the crazy thing is too is you can see one of these tree people in the back of the shrubs watching the whole thing go down. So you know these people are gonna die soon. But what you were saying, though, with Alan being a fucking grinning little bastard when all this crazy shit was going on, there's an iconic scene that's the poster for pretty much any DVD of this. It's the cannibal impaled on a stick the whole way through. He's, like, looking at it, like, laughing and shit.
Yeah. Okay,
And
that's why. This is the point. This is the point that wanted to be brought up, because that's why I say these guys are actually fucking demons. Like, these guys went in, and the first person they found, they raped to death.
Yeah. It's fucking...
They found like a 14-year-old at most, like 12, 13, 14, like very young. Oh, it's so fucked
Just
up.
some chick going out gathering and they gang raped her in the mud. But they got their comeuppance. Like what happens is basically after that you see the one impaled on the stick. More of their true character comes out. They're laughing at it. I think it's funny. The camera guy's like, "Hey Alan, cut it out, bro." And he's like, "Oh well, jeez, this is horrible. This is terrible." And then sweet justice happens in the final act of the movie, ladies and gentlemen.
All the last scenes, well, not the last scenes, but the last like kill scenes are awesome because you're just like, wow, these horrible people came and like just destroyed someone's way of life. Probably, they're not going to make it through the storm season because they don't have a village because you burned it down.
Basically,
and then you raped a girl to death. Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. Like
it was well deserved.
It's crazy because it's one of the only movies that I don't feel bad at all for watching these people get ripped apart. I'm like, yep.
Dude,
that's what would happen.
How it goes down is the blonde guy Jack basically gets castrated in front of everybody. Alan and I think Marco, they're basically like, this is great, let's keep filming it. Alan's girlfriend Fran is losing her fucking mind at this point. They catch her. They brutally gang rape her. Like every one of these tribes guys gang rape her to death.
I thought it honestly could have been worse. Like,
it could have been
just
a
like kill her really
fast. They bludgeon her to death, and then after that,
it's like a 2-minute scene.
They get jumped.
Did they show the
only gets raped
death?
Gets raped by one guy.
Attacked by the.
The cameraman's dead. Like, and it's crazy because the commitment to the movie.
We can't run.
This guy thinks he can get out or something. How is this guy still filming this shit?
And then there's
absolutely crazy.
Then the film the found footage portion pretty much ends with Alan falling to the ground with a sideways shot of his face, almost like.
And then just like when fucking me and Drew and Andrew. And fucking Ali, oh my god, dude.
Oh man, the people
like
watching
when we
this film reel.
Man.
Oh, so basically, all these people in New York at this point have been watching this unedited carnage, and then when the movie ends, like he was saying, pretty much everyone there is sitting in silence. It's like when we all watched August Underground. We were sitting there just like quiet. One guy gets up, leaves. The chick gets up and leaves. The third guy walks up to a phone and he's like, burn this.
Burn all of this footage.
Yeah, and then it ends on the classic note, I wonder who the real cannibals are. Now, a point I wanted to bring up is a lot of the cannibal movies that came out after this one. I mean, there was 2 that came before it, Man from Deep River and Jungle Holocaust. Jungle Holocaust, for those of you who don't know, was also done by Ruggero Deodato. But Cannibal Holocaust is honestly the one that set the standard, and I feel like every movie after that tried to be Cannibal Holocaust on some level. Looking at you, Cannibal Ferox. Looking at you, Green Inferno. Now, where Cannibal Holocaust works is it didn't have to explain its social commentary. You kind of just watched as the viewer and saw that these people were abhorrent pieces of shit that deserved it. And you didn't have to have someone asking you, like, hey, who's the real cannibal? It happened at the end in one phrase. It was good. It was filmed properly. It wasn't heavy-handed bullshit. It was a good movie that had nice social commentary salted and peppered in
I
throughout.
thought what was really great about that movie is like it shows a bunch, like their guides, a bunch of people, like they went into these societies and were totally chill.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's ritualistic with the eating of people. It's not like something they're doing all the time. They're just living in the jungle, and then like if someone does some fuck shit, it's like they showed it with the girl getting raped. If someone does some fuck shit, infidelity, whatever, then then they have to die and have some horrible shit.
For those of you the one who got hit with the rock, basically, her crime was she cheated on her man, and the guy even tells him, he's like, because the professor, he tries to pull the white knight lib card where he goes, I'm gonna stop this from happening, and our fucking adventurer Indiana Jones on cocaine pulls him back with a knife. He's like, no, I say, if he doesn't kill her for the infidelity, they're gonna kill him. So he had to do it. The guy's crying even when it happens, and they use him to track it. It's like the law of the jungle doesn't apply, and it's crazy. But these people, these Americans, show up and they think, hey, you know what? These people are savages. We can be savages too, and we'll get away with it. No. Sad fucking mistake. The law of the jungle, even though it may seem primitive, is no different than the normal human code that you fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck with you back 10 times harder. And these people had it coming. Now, my problem with movies like Green Inferno is you have a group of dumb fucking libtard cuck students. Basically, they get in an unfortunate plane accident. They get captured by these people who at first are not friendly. They cage them, they fucking eat them, and they murder them. And then at the end of the movie, it tried to pull what this movie did with the fucking, I wonder what the real cannibals are. But basically, by the end of that movie, the chick's in the UN, like we said in Saw X, and everyone's like, How was it? Were you okay? And she's like, oh, I only felt safe around them. The bulldozers coming, the Americans coming really made it bad. And it's like, bitch, these guys were gonna cut your clit off and eat you, bro. And like you felt safe. You were the virgin sacrifice to this specific tribe. Like it's completely different from Cannibal Holocaust. And I feel like Green Inferno and the movies that came after it, like more so the ones in the 80s,
are weak.
Yeah,
they're weak compared to this shit. Yo.
Like, oh, this movie's just great. It's got a great story, great effects, holds up today. Super controversial. Definitely not for the squeamish.
I'm honestly like really sad that I didn't watch it when it came out and shit. This is a good movie.
Oh, I wish I went back
really
in time
good.
to
Like
1980
it's on
when
the
this
fucking.
came out. Imagine it in the theaters watching this, what people would have
Dude.
been like.
So
bro.
sick, such a sick atmosphere. Like it reminds me of when I was a kid. I think I was 9 years old when I watched Apocalypto, and this had the same. Watching this movie had the same effect on me as when I was 9 years old watching Apocalypto. I was like, this is real as fuck. Like this looks good.
Hell yeah.
It made me question whether or not it was actually found footage.
Oh yeah.
A few times in the film, I was like, this looks so intrinsically real. Intrinsically isn't a word. T. Let's
Tease,
go.
boys. Fucking, yeah, so you know what, let's just give
Good
a
ass
basic
movie.
rundown. Everyone, what did you think in a quick blurb? And again, what would you rate it again? And would you watch it again? Would you
No,
recommend
what's
it to people? Me, I'm going to be unoriginal as fuck because this one is a classic. This is in my top 10. I give this a 10 out of 10. Never fails to disappoint. I watch it once every fucking year. This was my once a year to watch it right now. Who knows? I might watch it again in the summer when barbecue season hits. It's a good food movie. I recommend it to people who like gore, exploitation flicks, and movies that are daring and, you know, edgy but well written. This is one of those, and I highly recommend that. What do you think?
Really, really good film. First watch through, I'm gonna give it a 9. Cause you know, I gotta watch it a few more times. I feel like it's one of those ones where you
See how
can-
it grows on you.
Yeah, it's gotta grow on me. Like right now, it's a 9, just because some of the camera, there's a lot of shakiness. There's a lot of it's found footage. You feel it throughout the film, and it kind of it takes away from it a bit because it's one of those ones where it's a found footage film.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's really hyper realistic and really, really good. So I want to watch it a few more times and just see the gore effects again because they're exceptional. This came out in the 80s.
1980 on the
1980 on the dot?
80, yeah.
Amazing, absolutely amazing for its time. And
I'm
I
gonna let
can't
you
wait
get
to
your
watch it a few
point
more
too.
times.
One thing I wanted to add too is the gore effects and the found footage parts are really good. The parts in between that aren't found footage, there's some really good gore, save for the set piece scenes, the rock rape and all that other shit. But the machine gun, the shots when the mercenaries gun down some of the cannibals, it's very you don't see any bullet wounds on anybody. Kind of shows its budget in a few ways, but this isn't a AAA Hollywood movie, so it's to be expected. But if you go in liking that kind of shit, you're gonna be fine. There's definitely worse stuff out there, and if you try not to notice it, you won't notice it. But if you're being really nitpicky, you will notice it. So But anyway, what was your thoughts on it?
For the realism and how it was the tone, I gave it a 9.5.
Okay.
The gore effects, I gave it a 10.
All right. Nice.
And then the story, I would give it a 9.5 also because some of the, I don't know.
A little dodgy.
Yeah,
the
exactly,
animal cruelty kind of throws
And
it
then
off.
overall, I'd say a 9.5 or a 9.75 or something like that. So
Alright,
it's
fair enough.
almost perfect, but
All right, for all you sickos out there, this was Cannibal Holocaust. A high recommend. If you
Dope movie.
buy it, stream it, whatever, fucking own this. This is essential if you like splatter movies, cannibal movies, grindhouse movies. What are you doing? Just buy it already.
Instant classic, baby. Let's go.
gotta have it.
Don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment down on your favorite cannibal movie, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace out.
Snake pit.
Blah.